الرئيس التنفيذي لمؤسسة تو جود تو جو دكتور فيليب سوشلر من الدنمارك، المفترض ان هو ينضم لينا دلوقتي فورا. دكتور You are welcome, doctor.
Hello. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you and you are welcome, and the all now can hear you.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you so much for the invite. I will share then just my screen. Hello, everyone. Wow, a lot of people. All right. You can see my screen, just to double check?
Yes, we can.
Perfect, sounds good. All right, so thank you everyone for the invitation. Absolute pleasure being here. I'm happy to share with you my insights and kind of my take on the issue of food waste, which is of course the theme of and the conference of what the conference is all about. I'm Philippe Schuler. I'm originally from Luxembourg, which is a very small country in the middle of Europe. I am usually based in Copenhagen, but calling in from Madrid today, so quite international. But really happy to join here today, and yeah. So I think just to kickstart the discussion around food waste and also about us as Too Good To Go, is that at the moment, you know, the subject of food waste and food systems is really, really important, and it's becoming ever more important going forward, particularly as we're seeing the uncertain times all across the world. On the one side, we're seeing extreme weather events due to climate change. So this we have seen due to the high droughts in sub-Saharan Africa, also in the flooding that has happened in Pakistan, where climate change is really hitting home and is really hitting our planet like never before. Secondly, we are seeing the aftershocks of COVID-19 across the entire food supply chain, which of course has massive impact, and particularly also in Egypt with bread prices, of course, going up, and the import of wheat and corn being more and more difficult across the world as well. And then the third one is with the increase of energy, fertilizer, and food prices due to the ongoing war in Ukraine and Russia, which will intricately have an impact as well on access and availability of food. And all these three are definitely things that are happening right now, but also in the future, which will have a massive impact on our food system and on our society. When you're looking at food waste, what is really special as well is that by fighting food waste, we're also able to tackle the three greatest challenges of our time. As we know, the climate crisis is looming, it is happening right now, and we need to find ways of how we can reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, how we can mitigate and adapt to climate change. And 30%, so 1/3 of all the greenhouse gas emissions that are emitted on our planet come from our food system, and 10% alone from food waste. So there's a massive amount of opportunity here to counteract climate change through food waste. The second one is that we have a massive challenge in regards to growing population. You know, we only have one planet, so we have a finite amount of resources. And the question therefore arises, how will we be able to feed everyone on this planet if we continue to wasting food and we continue to have over 870 million people going to bed hungry every day? And then the third challenge that we're seeing as well is the reduction in the misuse of natural resources. We're seeing deforestation, biodiversity loss, also the way we use our fresh water. All these challenges are intertwined and also make food waste an absolutely essential problem for us to be solving and to find solutions to counteract that. Today, more than 1/3 of all food is wasted, and that means that 2.5 billion tons are wasted every single year, and it's such a big number that if you break it down, that means 79 tons of food are wasted every second, and that is almost 2,300 shopping carts every single second being wasted around the world, so the numbers are simply staggering. And when we're wasting food, we're not only wasting the actual produce, but we're also wasting the resources within. So imagine the amount of land that we need to produce all of that food that we then subsequently waste as well. The amount of labor, energy that goes into it as well when you're doing the agriculture, the amount of fertilizer we use, the amount of water that we use. So imagine one apple alone has 70 liters of water embedded within it. The amount of fuel that we use to transport food from left to right. All the amount of electricity that we need to keep our storage rooms cool, etc., etc. So there's a massive amount of energy and resources that goes into food as well. What is really astonishing as well is that scientists and different academics have looked into what are the best solutions out there that exist in terms of combating climate change. And out of the surprise of many, the number one solution to combat climate change is not electric cars, it's not wind energy, it's not solar power, it's not plant-based diet, but it's food waste reduction, which will help us to stay below 2 degrees. And that is really why it is so essential to fight food waste. And climate change is, of course, one of our greatest challenges. And the way food at the moment contributes to that is because of the way we continue to break down our forests, which, of course, creates more greenhouse gas emissions, the way we use fertilizers, the way food also ends up going to landfill, creating methane. So this, in one turn, creates climate change. But what is really important to understand is that we're also entering this reciprocal impact. So this vicious cycle, as we continue to waste more food and we continue to contribute to climate change will also impact our food system as well. Because food access and food availability will become unstable, food insecurity will start to rise as well. So that means the more we contribute to climate change, the more negatively it will also contribute to the food system. And this is why it is so important, and I'm really amazed that you as well, the organizers, have done such an incredible job in organizing this conference, because now more than ever it is extremely important also within Egypt to talk about this issue and to really face it heads on, because particularly now with the COP27 coming to Egypt next month, it is extremely important to connect food waste to climate change and to really push governments to include it in their national determined contribution. So they don't just focus on energy, etc., and all these different other segments, but also on the food system itself. One thing that I usually like to share as well, and I think the climate crisis in many different ways, of course, creates a lot of danger, and what the Chinese usually described as Weiqi, which is a crisis, is made up of 2 words. On the one side, it signifies danger, but on the other side, it creates opportunity. And they think that in every crisis, yes, there will be a danger because of what climate change will do and the havoc it will create, but it also provides us with an opportunity to change. And exactly this opportunity is what I want to talk to you about, because we at Too Good To Go, what we decided was, yes, we want to find a solution against climate change, we want to find a solution against food waste, and by using innovation and tech, we wanted to make a change through our Too Good To Go app. And the way it works is that you usually have a certain amount of food surplus at the end of the day. So imagine a bakery, a restaurant, they try to find as much food as possible. They create it during the day. But sometimes it's difficult to know how many people will come during that day to eat food. So of course there will be leftovers. There will be a certain amount of food that you would otherwise throw into the bin. So what we provide is an app that stores can use to then put a magic bag full of food. So it's basically a bag that could be filled with anything that they have left that day at one reduced price. So at 1/3 of the price, people can then buy that bag via our application. So it is really a marketplace that connects a business with a consumer, and we are the glue, we are the technology that connects both together, so that at the end of the day, people can go and pay for it and pick it up at reduced price for food that is still perfectly edible and that is beautiful still to eat. So our vision as a company is really to create this planet with no food waste and to inspire and empower everyone to fight food waste together. So our marketplace, our app is really the heart and the core of our company. But at the same time, we're also really trying to push beyond that, trying to educate consumers on how they should reduce food waste, working closely with businesses, making food waste political as well, so talking to governments on the local, regional, and international level, and also to educate the younger generation as well around food and food waste as well. So inspiration is all about really raising awareness. So this is really what I'm trying to do here as well, to really make sure, that people understand the issue of food waste, that they connect the dots, that we open people's eyes, and that really to make sure that people understand that, yes, there's a massive problem, but to also motivate them and to uplift them to make a difference. And the difference, it doesn't have to be complicated. Through our app, our simple app, we can really show to people that, a solution can just be within your pocket. You can download it, you can use it for free as a consumer, and you're able to make a difference with it as well. So it's really about encouraging people to be part of that solution as well, and really giving them the right tools and practices to make a difference. At the moment, the vast majority of food is wasted at the start of the supply chain, and it always depends a bit on each of the different geographies, but on the farm is where the most amount of food is being wasted. But what we are focusing on as Too Good To Go is at the very end of the supply chain. So looking at supermarkets, at restaurants, hotels, and also food being wasted at home. So really at the end, that's where our biggest focus is and where we see a big potential to also make a change. It all started with restaurants, then we started working more and more with bakeries, with hotels, supermarkets is becoming very big for us as well, with canteens, but also with food producers such as big names such as Nestle, Danone, Unilever. So it really is a very wide range of different partners that we're working with to help reduce food waste. At the moment, we are saving 3 meals every single second, so over 250,000 meals are saved via our application every single day. And to date, we have saved over 167 million meals from going to waste. We have over 65 million people using our app, and we are present in 17 different countries. Unfortunately, not yet in Egypt, but I hope that one day that will be the case. But at the moment, we are very Europe-focused, and we have now also made the jump to the US and to Canada as well. And we really feel that this innovative and scalable solution could really be used around the world, this marketplace, to really connect food surplus with consumers going forward. What I really would like to echo as well, just as a last note as well, is that it is really important to understand that each and every one of us can make a difference. If you're looking at the Egyptian market, Egyptians at the moment throw 91 kilograms of food away every single year, and that is only at the household level. So it's a huge amount of food being wasted. And that makes Egypt actually one of the worst ones when it comes to fighting food waste in terms of or trying to do something about it. At a household level, there's a massive amount of potential here as well going forward. And this is also why we created a lot of different initiatives trying to change the behavior and the mindset of people at home as well. I'm not exactly sure how what your legislation is in Egypt specifically, but for us in Europe, we have 2 different dates that really show whether food is still good or not. You have a best before date and you have a use by date. And the use by date is usually on meat and fish, and you should really try to follow that date that it says on the package. But the vast majority of produce out there has a best before date. And that date, you don't have to follow. It's just there as a guidance. But what is important is that you look at the product, you see, okay, is it moldy? Is it still okay? You smell it. If it smells okay, no problem. And you taste it. You're not going to die just by trying a small spoonful of a yogurt, for example. So it's about using your senses to see if food is still good or not. And it is really a massive problem, these expiry dates, because people completely rely on them to judge whether food is still good or not. And together with our partners, we created this label in order to educate people to really use those senses and to continuously look, smell, and taste. So yes, we are all part of the solution. It's extremely important that you plan ahead for your produce as well, so that you know exactly what is in your inventory, what do you need to go and buy, to not go food shopping when you're hungry, to really only buy what you need. To also store food properly, so to also make sure where does it go in the fridge, where can you store it outside, to repurpose it over time. That there might be a moment where you cook way too much food. This happens to me as well. But instead of then throwing it away, you could store it somewhere else, put it into Tupperwares, try to share it with other people, use it the next day, repurpose it into something else. So there's a lot of different tips and tricks out there to make sure that no food ends up going to waste. There you go. I really hope that this gave you a bit of information. I know there was a lot of information out there, but what we are really trying to do with Too Good To Go is really trying to connect the dots and really providing people with a solution that is both innovative and scalable, and that is helping businesses to fight food waste by also encouraging consumers to make a difference.
المؤسسة Too Good To Go. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.